Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and today we'll be looking at the top high school football players from smaller states. In my last video we explored all of the ESPN top 300 players. They came from large states, or they came from every state, and we found out that 23.5% of all ESPN top 300 players end up making the NFL draft, end up getting drafted. And so I was wondering, how often are players from really small or lesser recruited states drafted? And I was thinking that players from, lesser known recruiting hotbeds would be drafted at a higher rate because they would have to stand out twice as much. While if you're playing in South Florida or Southern California, you have a lot of scouts and recruits down there already, so there's a lot of hype around, there's already a lot of hype being driven from these areas, and thus you're going to get a higher concentration of top recruits simply due to the fact that there's more scouts, more recruiting, it's more known, it's got the legacy, the history. While if you want to be recruited from Nebraska, you're going to have to stand out twice as much to get any sort of national attention. So in the background is clips from all of these different players we'll be talking about today, and in total there were 24 players drafted from small states. The states we'll be looking at are Delaware, Idaho, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New Mexico, Rhode Island, South Dakota, West Virginia, and Canada. And since 2006, all of those states combined have had 24 players make the ESPN Top 300. 13 of those 24 are still in college, which leaves 11 eligible to be drafted, 9 of which were drafted. 9 of the 11 eligible drafted, 9 of the 11 players that were eligible ended up getting drafted. And again, around 23.5% of all ESPN 300 recruits get drafted, and from these small states, 9 out of 11. So smaller sample size, obviously, but much higher percentage. And of these players, of all these different players, 5 were drafted in the first 3 rounds. And so some of the highlights are Chris Godwin, Devin Still, Chris Godwin, Devin Still, both from Delaware. They're the only 2 players from Delaware. Tommy Togiai, the defensive tackle from Idaho. He plays for the Browns. He's a beast. Patrick Freiermuth, he went to Penn State, tight end. Plays for the Steelers. Then we have Zach Gentry and Landry Jones, both of whom were drafted out of New Mexico. Landry Jones, sort of like the one of the, shouldn't say the first because there's Sam Bradford and stuff, but one of the many QBs in that long line of legends out of Oklahoma. Oklahoma's certainly a hotbed for QBs to make the league, and Landry Jones being one of them. Then we have Xavier Truss. He's the only player from Rhode Island. He's still in college. Big offensive lineman. Plays at UGA currently. He'll be drafted for sure. From South Dakota, we have Matt Forniak and Randolph Kapai. Matt Forniak's in the league. Randolph Kapai is currently a linebacker at Nebraska. Look up his highlights when you get a chance. Absolute freak. He is for sure going to make the league. Flies to the ball. And then some of the other top players we have there's 3 from Canada actually. And that's Theo Johnson. We saw his highlights earlier out of Penn State. Guy's a monster. Neville Gallimore. Neville Gallimore, I'd say, is easily one of the most talented players on this list. I was watching all of his highlights. He plays for the Cowboys. The guy, he flies to the ball. He plays on the line. Super solid beast, again, from Canada. And then last but not least, we have Chase Claypool. Also, Neville Gallimore and Chase Claypool were both drafted in the top 3 rounds. Chase Claypool is obviously the receiver from the Steelers. And here on the screen right now, we have Gallimore's highlights. As you can see, he's just everywhere. And so this really had me thinking. I do believe that in order to stand out from a state like New Hampshire, where there's not going to be a lot of you're not going to have the national games that are shown on ESPN. You're not going to have those storied programs for high school football like you would in Georgia or Southern California or Florida. You're not going to have your modern day of North Dakota. It's just laughable to even think about. But so in order to stand out, you have to be almost twice as good to get noticed. So that's why I think 9 of 11 were 9 of 11 players were drafted. And like I was saying, I think that there's currently, of the 24 players from these small states since 2006, 13 are in college right now. So I think scouts are realizing that, like, hey, these players from smaller states that might have previously been overlooked are getting drafted at a very high rate. And so because of that, I think there's starting to be more and more attention to these smaller states. For instance, all 4 of West Virginia's top 300 recruits ever, or since 2006, are currently in college. Which, again, leads me to believe that these states have been overlooked for so long that they're now starting to get the attention they deserve due to the talent that they can possess. That there are plenty of diamonds in the rough, like we see with Chase Claypool. So yeah, this was something I was just very interested in. Thanks so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. I'm going to start making more and more videos like these, just random stuff I'm interested in, and share this with a friend that really likes sports. Again, thanks so much. Bye.